Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Srimate Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dino Dayala Hare Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dino O Govinda Hari Gopala Hare Go He Prabhu Dino Dayala Hare Govinda Hari Gopala Hare Prabhu Dino Dayala Hare Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dino Dayala Hare Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dino Dayala Hare Govinda Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Ho Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ho Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna. Jayo Jai Shri Panchatattva ki Govinda Damodara Madhaveti He Krishna He Yadava He Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti He Krishna He Yadava He Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Madhaveti Govinda Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Damodara Damodara Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Hare Krishna, Hare Yadava, Hare Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Hare Krishna, Hare Yadava, Hare Saketi, Govinda Damodara. Hare Krishna, Hare Yadava, Hare Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Hare Krishna, Hare Yadava, Hare Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Yadava, Hare Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Govinda
Hare
Ovo je bio mali muzički intermezzo. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Thiravana Chare Yamuna Thiravana Chare Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Thiravana Chare Yamuna Thiravana Chare Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Narayan Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Thiravana Chare Yamuna Thiravana Chare Yamuna Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krišna, lepo pozdravljeni vsi skupaj. Prvo bi se zahvalila glasbeni ekipi in Akruri, ki bo prav tako danes nas navdihnil s predavanjem. In sicer naslov predavanja bo Hiša, v kateri lahko živi celi svet. Bi pa povedala par besed o Akruri. Akrura je že dolgo bakta in prihaja v Slovenijo. Tako da predavanje bo zelo inspirativno. Vabim vas poslušanju. Predavanje bo v angleščini, tako da kdor želi prevod, dobi slušalke tam pri gospodu Doyle Chandri. Vabljeni k poslušanju. Hvala.
Hare Krišna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krišna. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ili ima neko naočare plus? Ne znam da ću moći, mogu da vidim, okej. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6. Malo bolje. This is one of the most important verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1 to 6. So chapter 2 is called Divinity and Divine Service. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yenatma suprasidati. Hoćete probati? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yenatma suprasidati. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yenatma suprasidati. Možemo svetlo ugasiti. The supreme occupation, Dharma, for all humanity is that by which one can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Purport. In this statement, Sri Sutta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human being. One is called the Pravritti Marga, or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called the Nivritti Marga, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence, or Brahma-Bhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries, and temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But devotional service is to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, i.e., without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the supreme quality of occupation in the form of the devotional service of the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the eternal central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaitu kiya pratihata yenatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which man can attain in loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Možeš malo tiše, prevodilac? Malo tiše su. Hvala vam što ste došli na ovaj program. Hare Krišna. Dobrodošli. Oh, sorry. Thank you for coming to this program. Welcome and wonderful to see you here. So we will start with the open sea. Sea meaning ocean, with the open ocean. So you can close your eyes and listen very carefully. Imagine a huge ship, which is like a warship in the middle of the ocean, like military ship. Captain, Captain, wake up! What is it? Captain, there is a ship in front of us. What shall we do? Tell him to move. Okay. He climbs up, gives a sign. The response, you move. He goes back. Captain, Captain, they say that we should move. Oh, we cannot move. We are a huge boat. We are a huge ship. Tell him to move. Again, the marine, he goes and gives a sign with lights. And the reply from the boat, the reply again, no, you move. He goes back to the captain and tells him, they don't want to move. Now the captain is getting angry. Tell them we are a warship, and if they don't move, we are going to do something about it. Again, the soldier goes up and gives a sign, gives signs to this other light, and again the same answer. Says, you move. You have to move. Now, the captain wants to borrow his power from his position, and he says, tell him I am a captain such and such of such and such, how you say, I don't know in English how to say, this military unit. Yeah, military unit. Anyway, but this is like a seaman, and that basically threaten him that we are going to, if he doesn't move, if they don't move, we are going to shoot or something. So he gives this sign, and the reply comes, sorry, I cannot move, I am the lighthouse. So now, the laws of nature or the laws of God are like lighthouses. If we take advantage of their light, if we take advantage of them, then we can become successful in life. But if we try to break them, we cannot break them, we can only break ourselves against them. So if this ship would try to break the lighthouse, it would just break itself of the rocks and just be damaged completely. So scriptures from all religions in the world, they describe the laws of nature, they describe the laws of God, and they tell us, scriptures tell us, if you align yourself, if you live in harmony with the laws of nature, you can be successful in life. You can be happy, you can be strong, you can be protected. So the key word to today's class is the word dharma. Savai pumsam paro dharmo. Paradharma is described in this verse, one of the most important verses and most quoted verses in the scriptures. Paradharma is devotional service. So basically this verse is telling the whole humanity what are we supposed to do in this world and in this life. So we are supposed to engage in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paradharma means supreme dharma, the supreme occupation. The word dharma has many meanings. One is occupation, one is duty, one is truth, one is law. Many. This is a very powerful word. And Bhagavad Gita starts with the word dharma. Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Yuyutsavaha. The battlefield of Kurukshetra is Dharmakshetra, which means this is also a religious place. Although it is a place of battle, but it is a religious place. So this one word can change your life. We have one devotee in this room at the moment whose name is Dharmakshetra. His guru gave him this beautiful name. He's here. Some of you know him, some of you don't know him. Dharmakshetra is Kurukshetra, and it's a place where Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the month of December. And every month of December we have Gita Jayanti, or the day of the Bhagavad Gita, where we read the whole Bhagavad Gita and distribute a lot of Bhagavad Gitas, much more than any other day in the year. And another Dharma has just entered the room. It's Bhagavad Dharma Prabhu. So we have two Dharmas here. Maybe there is more. I don't know if you have in your spiritual name, if you have the word Dharma, you can raise your hand. Okay, we have two Dharmas, but so this one word can actually change your life if you use it. It's such a powerful word. Dharma has to do also with morality. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there will be victory, there will be morality. So morality is something that in Kali Yuga is very much forgotten. And therefore we want to remind ourselves with the word Dharma that we should be moral. And we know that in life there is a big gap between what we know and what we do. And therefore this age of Kali is called the age of hypocrisy, where you think one thing, say one thing, and say another thing, and do another thing. But these three should be in harmony. What you think, what you say, and what you do. And especially what we do when no one is looking should be in line with morality, or also in line with the scriptures. in line with the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here in this purport, it's mentioned Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga. Pravritti Marga means path of sense gratification. You try to enjoy this world to the max, and when you get frustrated, you want to practice yoga, you want to have a healthy life, eat vegan food, try to heal yourself in some way, and attain liberation or moksha. But the process of bhakti-yoga that we are practicing is process of nivritti marga, and nivritti means renunciation, but our renunciation is very colorful and very juicy, because bhakti-yoga is a process which is susukam kartum avyayam, which means full of pleasure. Now you may tell me, oh, you know me for so many years, I practice bhakti-yoga, I chant, but I'm still not happy. So this process is not for me. Something is wrong. So it may be that the process is not wrong, but that we are not practicing it very seriously. And if we read carefully the scriptures and understand how to practice this process, then we can start to experience the benefits of this process of bhakti-yoga. I meet and speak one-to-one with so many devotees, and so many devotees are not happy, even after practicing Krishna consciousness. But those who are practicing seriously and who understand the purpose of life and understand their eternal position, they actually are happy and grateful that they are on this path. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a list of items that describe what is knowledge, and the first item is amanitvam. Amanitvam means humility. If you want to benefit from the knowledge of the Vedic scriptures, then the first qualification is humility. Yesterday, one devotee friend sent me excerpt from a podcast conversation between one Indian gentleman. His name is Deepak Jayaraman. He's a leadership expert, leadership advisor and executive coach, and he has interviewed one of the most famous coaches in the world and most respected leadership experts. And I know that gentleman personally, and some years ago I gave him Bhagavad Gita in London and another Srila Prabhupada's book, Light of the Bhagavad. And when he came back to London next time, he was very angry. He said, Akrura, this is all nonsense. Give it up. He wanted to save me from Bhagavad Gita. He wanted to save me from Krishna consciousness. And he got very upset, and later he apologized, but I will not describe the details of this battle that we had. It was an exchange, very intense. But basically, he didn't like Bhagavad Gita. But I think he didn't throw it away. He put it on his shelf, and maybe later he read it. So I was so happy to read, to hear. And this Prabhu sent me this excerpt, but I have found podcast on Spotify. I have found the whole podcast, which is 1 hour. He asked Indian gentleman, have you heard of Bhagavad Gita? he said Bhagavad Gita. Have you heard of Bhagavad Gita? And you know what Krishna is telling Arjuna? So he said Krishna several times. He's telling him, don't be focused on results, be focused on the process. So he knows that Bhagavad Gita is from the Indian tradition, and he was talking to an Indian man, and he used the wisdom from Indian tradition, from his own tradition, to make a point. He was explaining to him that he is preaching about the principle, I will be happy when. So you fill it in. I will be happy when I get this. I will be happy when I get that. I will be happy when this happens or that happens, and so on. So he wanted to make a point, be happy now. And you know, you heard about these books like Be Happy, Living in the Moment, Be Happy Now, Be Happy Right Now. He considers himself to be a Buddhist, but I like this man very much. He was very kind to me. He also gave me a lot of books for free about leadership. And he is quite a humble person. He has a PhD in behavioral psychology from the University Los Angeles, LA, in California. He's so famous. People adore him. But he's still very humble. But he can also humiliate you very much. So what he don't forget, we will get back to the word Dharma. I'm just explaining a point. So yesterday he really humiliated the host, really. But he saw that this guy, this man, is quite humble, so he can, if he would be too proud, he wouldn't do that, because it would be very disturbing. But because this Indian gentleman was very humble, so he took this freedom to smash him to pieces. So he said, are you married? Yes. And how do you deal with your customers? Oh, well, with my clients, with my customers, I take feedback from them, you know. I want to know how was I helpful? Was I helpful? So he said, did you ever ask your wife, how can I be a better husband? No. Why? And this gentleman said, well, I have no courage. So he said, oh, you're a coward. So he forced him to repeat, I am a coward. I am afraid to ask my wife, how can I be a better husband? So, how many of you are married men? Only one is married. Okay, how many of you have courage to ask your wife, how can I be a better husband? There is few very shy fingers. So now you may say, how he can dare to challenge people like this? How he can dare to challenge people like that? Why? Because he challenges himself every day. He has given to one woman questions that she asks him every day. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you walked? Have you exercised? Have you Have you done something nice for your wife? Have you done this? He put all his goals, gave it in the form of questions to her. He calls him, he pays her for this, and you know, he is coached. So he says, it takes courage to look at the mirror every day and ask yourself, what are you doing? You know, he said, people consider me to be a world expert. He said, you know what is my number one skill? I screw up every day something. I blow it. I make mistake. I'm very good at that. Every day I make a mistake. So therefore, because I'm a coward, I need someone to ask me these tough questions and to look at my heart and see how am I doing as a husband, as a coach, as a human being, as a father, etc., etc. So who of us can do that? So I have created something called Spiritual Partnership Guide, which I give such tools where you can actually, with your friend, you can have such partnership where you coach each other and challenge each other by your own questions, not by my questions. You give me your questions and I ask you. You ask me, you ask me, like, Akrura, please ask me every day, how was your japa today? Your chanting on the beats, your meditation. And I ask you, and then you say, well, it was on a scale of 1 to 10. You say, oh, it was 6. So what's the problem? Well, I don't know. I have so many problems. I have to think about things while I'm chanting. And also I give you my question. For example, you can ask me, have you walked today? Which is something I don't do very often. And if I say no, I feel bad. So this confrontation with the things we need to change is also one of the God's principles and God's laws, and it's a very important part of Dharma. You know what is the best sellers in the world? What books are best sellers? Which books are the best sellers in the world? I think it's books about weight loss. And you know, bestseller means that so many Americans and people around the world buy books about weight loss, and people are getting fatter and fatter and fatter. So why? Because we all know what to do, but the problem is doing it. And in order to do it, we need a coach. We need someone to supervise us, or we need someone to help us to supervise ourselves through someone. But you feel embarrassed if Urukrama Prabhu and I have a japa partnership, and every day we check on our japa. So I will feel embarrassed to tell him every day, today again my japa was sloppy. If I know I have to report to him, I'm going to make an effort to better chant. So because I'm lazy, I need to push myself using him to push me or to challenge me every day. So if you want to be dharmic, then you have to become honest with yourself. And you have to be courageous enough to confront yourself and to see what you want to change. To work seriously and sincerely on what you want to change. And I had an amazing chat today with one devotee, an amazing wisdom, very young person, amazing wisdom. I said, I feel you're a very strong person, but at the same time very fragile. Fragile means, like weak in a sense. And the devotee said, yes, how do you know? I just have a feeling. But this devotee said, I am not ashamed to admit I am weak or I am fragile. So who likes to do that? You know, that you are vulnerable. In the biographical movie of that same coach, my friend, Mr. Goldsmith, top executives, leaders of huge companies, old guys, they say, what is the most important quality of a leader? Vulnerability. So that means you're not afraid to admit your weaknesses. Every man wants to be a hero. But you know what is great heroism? To admit that you are nothing, you are weak. You can't do anything alone. And people adore this coach because he's so humble. He's very powerful, but at the same time he's so humble that he admits, he says that for himself that he's a coward. So who likes to be coward? Nobody. Everybody likes to be a hero. Everybody likes to be courageous. But we are afraid. We are afraid of our own senses and our own mind because we cannot control them. That's the problem. So to be dharmic, to follow Dharma, means to follow the scriptures. And the scriptures say, control your senses, control your mind. But how do you do it? You have to check. How are you doing it? What is the moment of truth? When there is Balaram sweet in front of you, you have already eaten 6, and somebody says, 1 more. And you say, okay, 1 more. And you know you shouldn't do it. You know you should have stopped on the first one. Or maybe you should have not even think of eating Balaram sweet, which may be a killer for some of us. But your tongue is stronger than you. This tongue that chants Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama every day cannot resist Balaram sweet. And Prabhupada, in the beginning, he was forcing disciples to eat too much because it will purify them. But after some time, you become sick. So it's not only this. There is bigger challenges. Today I was talking to 2 Indian boys. One of them we started working in Govindas. Sudarshan is his name. And another one is Mukunda Prabhu's place. So I tell him, you want to get married? Yeah. So what is the first qualification of a husband? Oh, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, he said something, I forgot. So I told him, when I met Mahajan Prabhu from Argentina, he's a disciple of Bhakti-Tirtha Swami. Bhakti-Tirtha Swami, he spent 6 last months of Bhakti-Tirtha Swami's life with him, and he worked with all Argentinian leaders, GBCs, stand for presidents. Wonderful devotee. He gives seminars on Grihastha life. And unfortunately, the announcement was late, so I didn't attend his seminar when I was in Zurich. And but I got to know him personally. We had prasharam together, we talked, and he told me about his whole understanding of family life and marriage. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. This devotee is amazing. So he told me, and I was impressed. And the next day is Sunday, and in the morning they have Chaitanya Charitamrita class. He is giving class. And the section is when Lakshmi gets angry at Narayan because he didn't come back. She got angry, and her servants also, ladies, got angry with the servants of Lord Jagannath. So this whole section explains how a woman gets angry. And gopis also get angry at Krishna. Just open. Gopis get angry at Krishna sometimes, and Krishna likes it. So I asked him, what will you do when you're... No, I asked this Prabhu. So he was reading this section, and I said, how is it possible that Krishna arranged that he speaks exactly about the things that he is expert in and that he applies in his life? That's amazing. I mean, nobody planned. They didn't even know he would give class, but the next section was about Lakshmi getting angry in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I thought, wow. And in this temple, there is Jagannath and Gaurnitai. So Jagannath arranged. So I asked him, Prabhu, do you think you're a good husband? Because you're such an expert, you speak about Grihastha life. He said, yes. Then he was quiet. And he said, you better ask my wife. He was very honest. Now, the next question I didn't want to ask him publicly because maybe it would be embarrassing. So I asked him privately, Prabhu, does your wife insult you? And he said, yes. And I said, what do you do? He said, I wait until she finishes, and then I tell her, my dear, this is not okay. So I was so impressed. I wanted to fall in Dandavat and put his feet on my head. I was thinking, who can do this? Even if you're a Swami, which Swami could do that? Any Swami, from any Sampradaya. This is so hard. Usually what men do, they either beat his wife, or he insults her, or he quarrels or divorces or whatever. He says, I wait until she finishes. What kind of yoga is this? It's heavy yoga. Being patient with your wife. Who can agree that being patient with your wife is the most difficult yoga? Don't be shy. Okay, ladies, you look to the other side. And I want to see more hands. The most difficult yoga. So my friend Marshall Goldsmith, he says, who will be the best coach for your relationship with your wife? What do you think? Who is the best coach for you to improve relationship with your wife? Who? Yes, your wife. But do you ask her for feedback? Once a month, you become a hero and very courageously ask your wife, my dear wife, how can I be a better husband? And shut up and write down. And then follow up whole month and tell her, you watch me. You gave me suggestions, you watch me. How can I want to improve. So measure progress. It's called measuring progress. Of course, a wife also can ask her husband, how can I be a better wife? This is also recommended. This is also dharmic. So these things, you have heard about the expression where rubber meets the road, or the wheel of the car. So basically, the moment of truth is when our understanding of the scriptures, our understanding of Dharma is tested every single day in what we do when no one is watching. So we have a long way, dear devotees, dear guests, to become first just honest, not devotional and, just honest with ourselves and then honest with others. We are lying every day. Like anything, lying ourselves, lying others. So Dharma also means truth. So if we want to be dharmic, we have to stop lying, and we have to get a spiritual partner, not a wife or a husband, but devotee who will watch our lies, or who will help us to check if we are lying ourselves and lying others. It's so hard to be honest. Willpower is overrated. Willpower, I will do it with my will. Some of you have strong will, yes, but most people don't have. No. I'm going to do it with my will. So nobody's checking on you, how strong is your will to do anything that tomorrow I'm going to get up and chant. And then when the alarm clock, you hear alarm clock, you say a little bit more. And then again snooze, a little bit more. So how many of us are doing these compromises every single day? You can raise 4 hands about compromises. So actually Shastra speaks about the hero. But the hero is one who controls his senses, Swami or Goswami. So what does that mean? It means when the senses say something or the mind says something, you can say no. So who can do that? If you see a beautiful woman and the mind says, wow, such an enjoyable object, and then you remember Srila Prabhupada says, you should see every woman as a mother or as a gopi. And you say, okay, Krishna, I remember that. Now I see this soul not as my sense object, but as a person I should serve in some way, I should respect, I should help if needed, whatever, or I should avoid whatever, whatever you decide to do. But do something dharmic, do something honest. So God is watching us to see if we understand His principles, if we understand Dharma, and if we follow every single day. So you tell me, I want to, Akrura, you're a coach, I want to develop self-confidence. How can you develop self-confidence if you're making a promise to yourself every day and you don't, and you don't keep the promise? So if you make a promise and keep it, you will feel very good about yourself. You will feel very strong. And you will feel very dharmic, dharma. So we want bhakti, but dharma is a basis for bhakti. We need strong foundation for bhakti because bhakti is not cheap. If the foundation of your house is weak, how can you build a house? So Srila Prabhupada has given us this foundation, and therefore he has created a house where the whole world can live. And that house has to be built on the foundation of Dharma. Then we can look for bhakti. So we cannot say, I'm transcendental, I don't care for the laws of Slovenia, I don't care for the laws of morality, I don't care for anything, human. We cannot do that. We need Dharma so that we can develop bhakti. Then this house in which the whole world can live can welcome everyone. And we want to welcome everyone. So please help us to become better devotees so that we can serve you nicely. All of you who come here or who are already here, that we walk our talk. And that when you complain to me about whatever I do, that I should say thank you and correct myself. And not say, who are you to tell me? You are insulting me. I'm senior in this. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. I'm borrowing power from whatever seniority or position. That's cheating. That is cheating. This is dishonest. If you tell me something, sorry, you hurt me the other day, I should say, I should apologize. I should buy you some sweets or something or say, how can I compensate? Apologize and say, not only apologize with words, but apologize with my deeds, to do something for you or to sacrifice some of my self-interest. So that is dharmic. And we want to help every devotee succeed. Slovenia is such an amazing country. This is why I also came, because kako se na engleskom kaže, gvožđe se kuje dok je vruće. You have to hit the iron while it's hot. You know that expression? Do you have in Slovenian this expression? Željezo ili gvožđe se kuje dok je vruće. Slovenia is an amazing country. Slovenia has a chance to turn into Vrindavan. And we have some Vrindavan fanatics here. We have some residents of Vrindavan. We have people who are born in Vrindavan. So Krishna has some very secret plan, not secret, public plan, for turning Slovenia. And Slovenia is such a beautiful country. I mean, such a beautiful nature, beautiful looking. But also people are so nice, so many nice people here, so many nice devotees. People are open, and so we have a chance to help every resident of Slovenia to bloom in spiritual life and to bloom in Krishna consciousness. But to do this, we ourselves have to become worthy representatives of God. We ourselves have to become more honest with ourselves, with others. We have to be able to admit our mistakes, correct ourselves, to work hard, on self-discipline and becoming a sincere servant. And serve these people here, help them, and also amongst each other have very nice relationships, helping each other succeed. Have a very friendly and loving relationships with devotees, and help every devotee succeed. Every devotee is important, every guest is important, because everyone is dear to God. Everybody is a child of God. So, the supreme occupation or dharma is the foundation for the house in which the whole world can live, and that's devotional service of the Lord. And what is the result? Is described in this verse. Yenatma suprasidati. Ahaituki apratihata yenatma suprasidati. The only thing that can satisfy the soul is pure devotional service, unmotivated and uninterrupted. Like, you want to be satisfied with your meditation, but if you interrupt your rounds, how can you be satisfied? You have no taste for chanting. Doing this, doing that, looking at the phone, non-stop interruption. Also, in communication with people, if I respect you when you speak, I will not interrupt you. You know, some people talk at the same time. So how can you communicate if you speak at the same time? It's really like crazy. So how many of you have a habit of not interrupting people when they speak? Wow, there is some hands. Wonderful. This is wonderful. This is also very hard because we have a habit. These are some of the principles that we can follow, and we can take advantage of this verse. Always go back to basics. Always remind ourselves why we are here on this planet, Earth, and understand that Dharma is a powerful foundation for developing bhakti, or pure love of God, and become more dharmic, become more principle-centered, work in line with God's principles, and then our return back to Godhead will be safe. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So shall I stop, or can we have one question? Okay. Yes, okay. I stop. I stopped there.
Haribo.
Ok, hvala lepa za to predavanje. Zdaj, ker smo že malo v zamudi, bomo nadaljevali z našim programom, in sicer zdaj sledi kirtan, po kirtanu pa še kratka obvestila.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai.
Ovo ti ne treba više, a? Taj stol. Dole u ormanu. Da, on je od Marka. Trebamo dati Marku. Daću ja Marku. Da. Koji Saša, ona je isto pčala? Možete prevoditi. Nisam vidio, naći će. Ćeš ti da vodiš kjertu? Imaš onda na kraju još bađan. Da. Da ostavim gitaru tu ili da...
Ne gitaru, ja idemo po sada u ruku.
Dobro. Gitaru. Stavimo moj auto gitaru. Stavimo tvoj auto.
malo mi krajši, ne?
Ja, se sploh ne bom imel gora, ker je že prepozno. Ki bhajayo jaya gaurachandar arati ko shobha Jahanavi tatavane Jagamana loba Hare Bol Jyoti Chandra Jini Vana Ujvala Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shuka Narada Primigada Gada Bhakti Vinoda Dikhe Gorara Sampada Ipatayo Jayo Gaura Chande Arati Goshoba Jana Vidatavane Jagamana Loba Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagajanamana Loba Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagajanamana Loba Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasade Gaura Bhakta Veda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। जाओ विष्णुपाद प्रणाम से प्रचार्य उत्तर श्री श्रीमद लभई चरणमिंद भक्तिवेदांत महाराज श्लोपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, ब्रह्म से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जैसे श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। सहस्लास ब्रह्म भक्त हरे कृष्ण, सहस्लास ब्रह्म भक्त हरे कृष्ण, सहस्लास ब्रह्म भक्त हरे कृष्ण, सहस्लास श्री गुरु अंग सहस्लास प्रभुपाद।
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya. Bhat Maharaj ki, Jai Gaura Premanande.
Še kratek napovednik, hvala lepa za kirtan. Še kratek napovednik za ta teden. V nedeljo je pojavitev gospoda Ramachandre. Če želite ob tej priložnosti kaj darovati, se lahko zglasite v butiku. Drugi teden pričakujemo prihod njegove svetosti Anande Tirtha Swamija, in sicer ostal bo tukaj od 13. do 16.4. Na oglasni deski pa si tudi lahko preberete o tečaju Bhakti for Life. Takole zdaj kuhali in sponzorirali, kakor tudi pospravljali so kuhinjo za današnjo pojedinjo učenci njegove svetosti Krišne Kshetre Swamija. Ob tej priliki pa bi še dala besedo Taruni Šaki Mataji.
Hvala. Hare Krišna, dragi bakte. Jamuna Lila spet potrebuje, oziroma še vedno potrebuje našo pomoč. Če se spomnite, od začetku meseca sem rekla, da je bila hospitalizirana, no ona je še vedno v bolnišnici in prestaja zelo težke borbe. Imela je, ne vem, že 4 operativne posege, tako da se zelo bori. In bi vas prosila, če, zdaj bomo zapeli eno maha mantro za njo, ma tudi tako čez teden, če se spomnite, kakšno molitev nameniti za njo, kakšno mantro, kakšen krog, mislim, da bo vse prav prišlo. Tako da če lahko zdaj eno maha mantro, prosim. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krišna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krišna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. No in v njenem imenu je potem tudi sponzoriran današnji Sunday Feast. No, tako da.
Hvala. Torej, program Plus je danes, tako kot ponavadi, od 19 do 20 in sicer vodil ga bo Akrura. Povedala bi še to, če je kdo danes prvič, se naj zglasi gospej Sonji, ki tam stoji, ki bo dobil sladko presenečenje, pa če ga karkoli zanima, lahko vpraša. Povedala bi pa še tudi to, da ima danes tudi naša prijateljica Surya Kanja, Mataji rojstni dan, pa bi prosila mogoče še eno maha mantro, če lahko za njo. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Čaka nas samo še molitev pred prasadamom, duhovno pojedino, torej Šarira Vidya Džal,